December arrives at Lambeau Field with the Packers in the playoff chase, and if this guy can stay perfect in December, it might be one to remember. Tonight on Cover 2, live post-game coverage of Packers and Chiefs. KC is the gold standard in the NFL, and the most decorated QB plane makes his first trip to the tundra. Time to break it all down. Cover 2 starts now. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Cover 2. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. The Green Bay Packers, as of right now, are the final playoff team in the NFC field. Their upset win over the Chiefs tonight just went final a few minutes ago at Lambeau. Now makes them the 7th seed in the NFC with their 6-6 record. They have won 3 consecutive games. We'll break it all down, but first, let's get you to the highlights of this one at Lambeau. The Packers coming off that solid upset win on Thanksgiving, and just like that game, they scored on their opening possession tonight. Longest drive of the season on the 13th play. Rookie Ben Sims wide open for his first career touchdown to make it 7-0. Patrick Mahomes making his Lambeau debut. He moves the Chiefs inside the 10, but suffers 2 sacks, including the second of the year for first-round pick Lucas Van Ness. KC settles for a field goal to make it 7-3. Packers' second drive, just like their second drive in Detroit, another touchdown. Jordan Love, patient against the extra rusher, finds Christian Watson, third straight game of the touchdown for him, 14-3. Kansas City again drives down the field, but again a sack deep in Packer territory, forces a field goal, this time Preston Smith and Devontae Wyatt. 14-6, Green Bay leads it at the break. Chiefs open the second half with a 75-yard drive. Isaiah Pacheco waltzing in, 2-point attempt fails, so it's 14-12. But the Packers answer thanks to the answer to a prayer. On 4th and 1, Jordan Love lofts one, and Romeo Doubs tracks it down. 33-yard gain. And 2 plays later, Watson again. Look at this, great contested catch in the back of the end zone. Packers go up 21-12. That's a great album by Rush, right? But lead isn't big enough. Kansas City closes the gap. 66-yard drive. Mahomes to Noah Gray makes it 21-19 early in the 4th. The two teams then traded punts for the first time all night, but the Packers come back to tack on a field goal with 6:03 to go. Anders Carlson good from 40 to make it 24-19. But how many times have we seen Mahomes work his magic? Not this time. Keyshawn Nixon picks him off with 5:14 to go. Packers trying to run out the clock after that. Christian Watson converts a big first down, but watch him grab the right hamstring. 7 catches on the night for Watson, including a couple of touchdowns, but that right there is a concern. But with 1:09 to go, Carlson from 48 right down the pipe makes it an 8-point game, and the Packers hold on, surviving some last-ditch efforts by the Chiefs. 27-19 the final score. I believe we're going to head out live right away and check in with our Dave Schrader, who was there. Dave, this is a very impressive win, a wire-to-wire win over the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yep.
A lot of things we can talk about as impressive, but what's number one on your list?
The way the Packers offense was able to move the ball and score in the red zone, touchdowns often against this Kansas City defense. A month ago, in the midst of their doldrums, who would have guessed that on this cold night, the hot knife through butter would be the Packers offense against the KCD. They came in 3rd in points allowed. They had not given up more than 24 in a game. The Packers giving the Chiefs their most humbling taste of offensive production today. Jordan Love got those 2 first half touchdowns in a row today, just like on Thanksgiving, and that set the tone for the day. They weren't playing catch-up. They got to play from ahead.
All right, Dave, you mentioned Jordan Love. Let's look at his numbers here. 25 of 36, the 3 touchdowns, didn't have a turnover. His rating was 118.6. Patrick Mahomes, who clearly does not have the same supporting staff we're used to him having, passer rating is 79.1, only 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So Love's redemption tour against the Chiefs, I'd call it successful. What did you like about his game?
I like the fact that he had pocket presence. I know he took the sack late to make it a longer field goal. I know they moved backwards before the half, but overall, against a defensive front that included Chris Jones, his poise in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, and still keeping his eyes down the field, and his quick trigger to take checkdowns when available made the difference. The Packers stayed out of 3rd and long because they consistently stayed ahead of the change. They had the one delay of game But other than that, mostly they were moving forwards, and that made a big difference. Going against a great defense, you have to take what you can get and keep moving the ball. And the other thing that I like from Love and Matt LaFleur, who should be in the running for Coach of the Year with this run, by the way, is that they stayed aggressive. To beat the Chiefs and Mahomes, you cannot ease up. You cannot try to run out the clock. You have to find a way to keep scoring points, and they kept doing that in the second half tonight.
All right, let's talk about Matt LaFleur's game plan here. There was a lot of misdirection. They were making a big note of it on the broadcast. We were watching the same thing.
Yeah.
This looked like Matt LaFleur's offense from 2019 and the one that it was billed to come. A lot of misdirection, things going opposite directions. The Chiefs were guessing. I thought that was really good. Did you think it kept this very good Chiefs defense, came in number 4, 3 against the pass? It kept them guessing.
It did. In the pre-snap motions, we saw some of the orbit motions from the Packers offense today that you and I saw at Arrowhead 4 years ago. It's clear that Matt LaFleur is opening up the playbook, trusting his players and Jordan Love implicitly. It looks so different from today than just over a month ago when they were losing all those close games. Now they're winning the close games against much better competition.
You know, Dave, we sat with the on-the-clock crews, Jason, Rob, and Mark, who we won't have tonight because they're busy, just like Dave is right now. But entering this 3-game stretch, right, after the Steelers, it was like, oh my goodness, the Packers are going to be in such bad shape by the time they go to New York because of this 3-game stretch, right? The Chargers, the Lions, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you thought they were going to win all 3. I don't think a lot of hands would be in the air.
No, I don't think so. I talked to someone in the press box before the Chargers game, and they were talking about what draft pick the Packers would have if they did not win another game. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but that was a discussion that was had in the press box before that Chargers game. They are in quite the role right now. The Packers, if they hadn't lost the close games early, which young teams will do, you can't win them all, think where they'd be. This is a team that has competed in every game except that ugly Thursday nighter at home against the Lions. And yes, the Vikings worked them a little bit, but that game was still in contention in the fourth quarter. I know it wasn't a one-score game, but the Packers have competed each and every week with the young cast that they've assembled. I think moving forward, the schedule lines up for them not just to get in the playoffs, but to maybe rise to the 6th seed. I know the Cowboys are a long ways off, but I think this Packers team is going to make the playoffs, and they're going to not be an easy out for anyone they face. The biggest question, though, is Christian Watson, that hamstring. I know he had the hamstring injury coming out of training camp, had a slow start to the season. How does that impact the offense? We'll see. But the teams on the schedule, the Packers can beat them off. You can beat the Lions on the road and the Chiefs at home. You can beat anyone on your schedule, and they probably should.
All right, so those remaining 5 games that Dave is talking about, as of right now, there's not a single team on the schedule that has a winning record. The best record remaining on the schedule, as of now, the Minnesota Vikings, who have that 6th seed, they are just 500. So the Packers in very good shape there. You mentioned Christian Watson. I was surprised, Dave, to see him on the field shaking hands with players afterwards. I don't know what kind of sign that is, but I do know they have an extra day this week. So maybe that will help.
And think what they've done with all the players injured. Aaron Jones out today. Matt LaFleur never got Coach of the Year with Aaron Rodgers. If he goes on a big run, gets to 9-10 wins, you've got to consider him this year. Remember when they went to Arrowhead and won, they didn't have Devontae Adams. They found a way. Today, again, without Aaron Jones, they find a way. I think that Matt LaFleur deserves a lot of credit for what they're doing at this juncture. And I know that we got tricked into this in 21. They got healthy just in time for the playoffs and fell on their face. But this was a game without Jair Alexander. This was a game without Aaron Jones. Those are arguably 2 of your best players. I know they have an ascending quarterback, but those guys make a difference too.
Yeah, and it's not just this game. Those guys have not been factors for a while for the Packers here. Jair has missed a bunch of games. Aaron Jones, even when he was coming back from his first injury, was not a factor. Now with this MCL, clearly has not been around. So Packers doing it, as you mentioned, with a lot of guys that they weren't counting on, but now you can count on them. We'll see if it pays dividend in the final 5 games. Stick around, Dave. We'll come back to you. We're going to bring you the post-game press conferences as soon as they are available. We'll also take you into the locker room, time permitting, here as the Packers beat the Chiefs 27-19. More Cover 2 to come right after this. Welcome back to Cover 2. Matt LaFleur now 16-0 when it looks like this around Lambeau Field. He has not lost in December. And the Chiefs except for their first loss when a certain pop star is in attendance. Taylor Swift was there tonight, but it didn't matter as they are now 4-1 when she is in attendance. Dave, let's go back to the start of this game. I'm curious whether you thought it was scripting, play calling. You said they've opened things up a little bit, but this is the second game in a row where the Packers have scored on their first 2 possessions touchdowns. But the opening game touchdowns now, they've done it in back-to-back weeks, obviously. But if you go back to the start of this season against the Bears, they did it. And then they went 7 games where they didn't score a touchdown on their opening possession. In fact, they only had 1 field goal in those 7 games on opening possessions. But they seem to have corrected that problem. What do you think the biggest factor is with that?
I think it's execution and staying out of negative down and distance yardages. It's not 2nd and 12. It's not taking a penalty, being 2nd and 20 a lot. I know that that's a simple answer and may sound, well, of course that's going to help. Well, they weren't doing that. They were shooting themselves in the foot every other play early on in games. I'm not sure if they ever got to really look at the script because of the penalties and the negative plays that they were taking early in the season. They're just not doing that now, and just the comfort all around with the offense.
That's a great point, Dave. Hold tight there. Let's go inside Lambeau Field and listen to Jordan Love.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, you just got to, with this defense, you never know when they're going to bring it. You know, they do a really good job disguising their stuff, so you kind of always got to be alert for it, try and pick up on the little tells, the little keys. But yeah, you know, on that one to Christian, they did end up bringing it. We got to a protection that picked it up, was able to give me enough time to just kind of buy some time and let Christian work and put it up for him, and he went up there and made a great play.
You said the coverage on that 4th and 1 to Romeo was kind of showed that you should throw it there. What did you see? What was about the coverage that showed you that? And obviously they're bringing it, right? So how's that calculate in your mind, getting rid of the ball?
Yeah, we kind of have like a 3-level throw, and you know, number 2 ran a shorter out route. I felt the safety kind of grabbing him and kind of let Romeo go. So I just put it up there, and yeah, the safety he wasn't able to get back to that play. But yeah.
Jordan, you have 3 touchdown passes tonight, all against blitzes. I think you're like 8 touchdowns, no picks in the last, I think actually all season against blitzes. Why are you guys so much better at that now than maybe, I mean, I know 2 years ago was a long time ago, but why are you so much better at that, do you think?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's just being able to see this stuff. I've got more reps, I'm more comfortable, understanding where I need to go with the ball. I think the O-line is doing a great job just being able to pick this stuff up. You know, it's not easy when they're bringing the all-outs and these blitzes, things like that, but they've been doing a great job giving me time. And then receivers, obviously, just they're having awareness of when they need to be open and how long I got, and then just going out there and making plays. But it's definitely something we as a team have just been, we've practiced. We know it's something teams are going to bring, and we got to be able to execute and go out there and make sure they don't do it again.
And then on the sack right after the 2-minute warning, you got to keep the clock right on there. You're better to take the sack there just to burn more time, or was that not part of the thinking?
No, we ran a play. We were trying to, you know, get a shot over the top. You know, they ran a coverage that wasn't really ideal for the play. Kind of played outside leverage on number 3, so we didn't have a great look at it. Yeah, instead of just forcing it, just take the sack right there, keep the clock running.
Jordan, you guys were 2-5, 3-6. It's easy to say, you know, just stick together, win the next game. How do you guys keep this season from unraveling it even further?
I mean, I think it's everybody in the locker room. You know, from the top down, everybody's just trusted it, stayed together. No one's wavered. Obviously, it wasn't easy at the beginning of the year. It wasn't exactly how we planned or wanted it to go. But everybody just stuck together. We just kept our head down, kept working every week, showing up with the mindset that we just got to take it 1 week at a time and know that, you know, we're not a bad team. We're a good team. We just haven't been able to finish these games. So I think everybody's just stayed together, though.
Welcome back to Cover 2. The Packers with their 3rd straight win at home. The Rams, the Chargers, and now the biggest of them all, beating the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Interestingly, this is the second time they have played second season in a row they've played the defending Super Bowl champions at Lambeau Field and beat them. They beat the Rams a year ago at Lambeau Field. As we head back out to Dave, who's there on the field. Dave, I think defensively, it's probably safe to say they got away with a few there on that last Kansas City possession. MVS got mugged, and I think on the Hail Mary there was a shove. They made a pretty good point of that on TV. But other than that aside, this defense played very well. What stood out to you tonight?
What stood out to me is that they did enough in the red zone early to set the tone, to be able to hold on for dear life. I was in the press box on that very last play, peeking over at Joe Barry in the coach's box, and you should have seen the eruption of emotion when that final Hail Mary attempt fell incomplete. And they're not going to call pass interference on a Hail Mary. I don't think I've ever seen it. As for the MVS play, Tucker Kraft, a couple drives before, the drive before was interfered with. They didn't call it. There were some calls that were made both ways and some calls that weren't made both ways. The Packers defense played better than the Chiefs defense. And I don't think many people expected that coming in, especially with the pedigree of Patrick Mahomes, 2 MVPs, 2 rings, and Jordan Love making his second start against Mahomes, did so much better this time around. I think that defense deserves a lot of credit today. The 3 sacks in the red zone, those first 2 drives, and then the big interception from Nixon. If there's been a bugaboo with the Chiefs beyond the drops, it's turnover margin. They're in the bottom quarter of the league. The Packers won the turnover margin today.
All right, some of the stars on defense, Quay Walker with 13 tackles, Corey Ballantyne had 10. I thought Lucas Van Ness, it's 2 weeks in a row now where he's made some eye-opening plays. Remember, he had that fake punt that he stuffed in Detroit a week ago. He had the sack tonight. He had 2 quarterback hits. He had a tackle for loss. All those guys playing well. 7 quarterback hits in total for the Packers. And another half sack for Rashawn Gary, and I think we have sound from him. We do not have him yet, but we'll bring that to you soon. So, Dave, one final thought with you, because Anders Carlson, the last few weeks, has been a topic with the guys on the clock. And Rob always says this is why you don't draft a kicker. He had missed kicks, whether extra points or field goals, in 5 of his last 6 games. But he was pretty clutch in the fourth quarter. Both those kicks with a lot on the line, a 40-yarder and then a 48-yarder late, those were pretty true.
I think that's why you put kickers in positions like the one before the half in Detroit. Maybe he makes it, maybe it doesn't. You give him experience for the moments and you see where you trust him from. They did not have him attempt a long field goal before the half today, and I think that was smart. It could have stymied momentum and given the Chiefs a chance at something there as well. I think you don't pay running backs and you don't draft kickers. The Packers have done both. Brian Gutekunst, maybe he's on to something.
So far, they've gotten away with it.
Maybe.
All right, Dave, stick around. More to come from Lambeau Field. I promise we'll get you that Rashawn Gary sound and perhaps more if time permitting. Cover 2 rolls on after this. Cover 2 rolls on after the Packers beat the Chiefs at Lambeau Field 27-19. As promised, we're taking you inside the locker room now and listening to Rashawn Gary and Adriana Torres.
All right, we're here with the birthday boy. Is there any other present better than a victory?
Nah, especially in this league, every Sunday it's hard to get a win, and I'm happy that today we was able to, put a whole team effort together and get the win.
Rashawn, how big is this, defending champs?
It's big because it's the next game, but we focus on Monday night coming up this week.
When you guys were going through that 4-game losing streak and then now winning 4 out of your last 5, what does it say about this team's resilience?
Just how I've been telling y'all all year, that this is a team that's going to fight 60 minutes and whatever it take, and that's just holding true to it and everybody keeping ourselves to that standard, and that's doing what we got to do to win ball games.
A half a sack tonight, that makes 9 on the season. What is working so well that you're able to get to these quarterbacks? Just the team chemistry, how the front is able to rush, and how I understand what Kenny want to do, I understand what D. Watt want to do, I understand what Preston want to do, and we just working together, crushing the pocket, and we all get home at the same time. So that's it, just us working together as a unit. Patrick Mahomes, one of the best in the league. What was the challenges here facing him today, and then how are you guys able to get past him?
Just his playability from him, able to extend plays, get his playmakers the ball, and without him, the offense don't run as efficiently. So our job was to basically cause pressure, make sure we get them off the spot, just make things uncomfortable, and that's what we did today.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right, that was Adriana Torres inside the Packers locker room. If time permits, we'll get you some more. So I believe we're going to have Christian Watson, if we can get it in before the gun, as we get back to Dave Schrader on the field. Dave, one of the guys on the offensive side of the ball we haven't talked about, A.J. Dillon, pretty effective tonight. 18 carries, 19 total touches for 87 yards, and this is a guy that didn't practice a whole lot this past week. He's been dealing with a nagging groin injury, but he was very effective tonight. This is the December A.J. Dillon that the Packers hoped they would get.
Yeah, this is what we saw back in 2020 against the Titans that showed so much promise for the guy. He's had some performances this year that make you shake your head. Against Atlanta early this year, didn't quite get done what they needed him to get done to win that game. He has come up big over the last month, and he deserves a lot of credit.
All right, he does indeed, and Christian Watson deserves a lot of credit. 3 straight games now with a touchdown. Dave, we're going to go back inside the locker room. Adriana with Christian Watson.
Alrighty, Christian Watson here with 2 touchdowns in this one. Your connection with Jordan Love just seems to be clicking more and more as the season goes on. Why is that?
I just think the offense as a whole is clicking a lot more. I think we found our groove, and we're just taking the momentum and everything that we've been building up these past couple of weeks and rolling with it, and it's been showing.
A tough stretch, but then coming back and winning 4 of the last 5. What does this say about this team able to just stay in it no matter what and work through those kinks?
I think it just shows our mentality, our relentlessness. I don't even know the word. Yeah, resiliency. I can't talk right now. I'm a little too excited after that one. We're just we've been resilient through it all. We kept the same mentality the whole time. Just keep on chopping, regardless of what's going on, and just keep on getting better. And we've been getting better and better every single week.
This is a tough Chiefs defense that you guys went up against, the Super Bowl champs. Is it any more special knowing that they are the defending champs and it was a tough one to get by?
For sure. Just to have Kansas City in here, Sunday Night Football. It's super special. The most important game is the one this week, and this is what we had, and we went out there and did our thing.
Going down in the 4th quarter with the hamstring injury, how is your hamstring feeling, and do you think it's going to be a problem here?
I'm not sure. I'll go talk to the trainers, figure out what's going on. Just got to get that sorted out.
Thank you, Christian.
All right, hang on. We're going to come back out. We're not at the podium. We're back on the field with Dave. All right, Dave, you got time for 30 seconds. Final thoughts, but let's start with how you think they're going to play. What is going to be important that Monday night against the Chiefs outside of the obvious, and that's what happens to the guy we just heard from. That's Christian Watson.
Avoiding a trap game. The Packers have beat the Lions and Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. They go on the road. Can they show up again? And beyond that, looking forward, is this 1993 all over again? The Lions may finally get their home playoff game. The Packers may come calling.
That's true. So right now, the Lions are the number 3 seed in the NFC, which means they would get the number 7, right? Or the number 6.
The 6.
If the Packers can get to 6, they get the Lions. If they're the 7, as of right now, they get the 49ers. Keep in mind, that's what you want to watch out for, unless the Eagles give up the top seed. So a lot to sort out here in the last 5 weeks, but we didn't think we'd be talking about this 5 weeks ago, did we? Thanks for watching Cover 2, our live post-game coverage. We'll see you back here tomorrow. So long, everybody.